Hello everyone, welcome to the second video in the series Excel case study. Today, I am going to share an Excel automation case study. We hear many times that we did automation with Excel, but we are not too sure what it means. So I thought, let me share a case study in 2 or maybe 3 parts covering the problem and how it got solved in an automated way in Excel. And I must add that you know all the features used in the solution already. It's just a minor tweak in the application of those features in Excel that has helped to achieve the automation. Now let me tell you how it started so you can get the background. Last week, while sitting on my friend's office, who is also into CA practice, told me that he has a problem with tracking progress of various processes for each of his clients. I asked him what he is currently doing. After understanding the process, I realized that he has many areas of practice like GST, income tax, VAT, etc. And he has more than 100 clients. Some take the services of only income tax and some may take services only for GST or both. And he wants to have an automated way to create tracking sheets having only those clients who have taken those services, so he can track the status efficiently. That was a rough idea of his problem, and I gave him a rough solution in 1 hour only and spent maybe more 30 minutes later on to make the solution a robust one. Before moving further on how I built the solution step by step and what was the thought process in developing each stage of the automation tool, I want to show you the solution, what it does in an automated way, and what features I used to develop the same. Then we will take each step and build it again for you to understand how easy it is to make an automated tool in Excel. First, it has a reference table which is used in drop-downs at various places with data validation. Then there is a tab for maintaining all the processes with due dates and interval and deadline type, or you can say service type. And then the client master to maintain details about the client and whether they have taken the services or not. So here I have yes and no against each client. For example, this client is taking services of only VAT, income tax, TDS, not for GST or advanced tax or tax audit. This is just a dummy example. So far so good. It's not magic, right? Now let's see the master dashboard. What all it does is, it has only one cell which needs to be changed, and that is C2, and the entire sheet will get updated automatically. So if you select this process for monthly GST, it will pick up the date, month, interval and the service type, and for all the clients who has opted for GST service, it will be listed down here with all their details. So if you see the GST column in this client master, we have only 4 clients, that is DEF, JKL, PQR and STU. So all these 4 clients is listed here, and you can have the notes for its status. Now you will see, as I change the process, not only the table content update, but the borders are also getting updated, and you can always cross verify this data with the client master. It will be true. Like for example, for VAT we have 5 clients, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 is listed over here. For example, if you take yearly income tax, then we have only 1 client in there. So you can see here, it's only Messrs ABC who has opted for the income tax, yearly income tax returns. And you can also modify the client master anytime, and it will update the sheet for you. So if example I took 1 more years instead of no for, like for example, Messrs GHI, and it updated the master dashboard automatically. So this is the beauty of this automation tool. And lastly, it has function of creating sheet with only formatting and the data so that it can be updated for that particular process. So let me click this and see what happens. So as soon as I click the button in master dashboard, sheet with the name of the process has been created with all the data, but now there is no formulas in there. I can keep on creating these process tabs separately and then update those accordingly. So this was a brief overview of the automation tool which I created. Now let us see all the features I have used in the solution. So first thing I have done here is creating the dynamic drop downs. It's not your normal drop downs. For example, we have this due date master and it has around 7 entries in it. So we have in this drop down we have 7 entries available. And as soon as you enter a couple of them more, say for example monthly TDS for April, or you can say quarterly weight for June. So as soon as you add those 2 new processes and you visit my dashboard, it will have those in the list. You can see the 2 we just added. Okay, so it is dynamically created with the help of offset formula. I will teach you in a later part of this video the same. So don't worry about it. We'll come to it later on. It's very easy thing. So let me delete this because it's not required currently. And also the sheet which we have created for the demonstration. Okay, so next thing we have done here is the conditional formatting for borders. So you see this table getting updated automatically with borders. It's achieved with the conditional formatting. And not to forget the array formula. This is the array formula to list down from a population a list of records based on one criteria. So it is the criteria is yes. So whenever there is a yes in a particular process, it lists down the client names over there. So this is an array formula we will discuss later on in detail. And we have achieved this result with the help of a helper column also, which is a hidden column. So let me unhide it to let you see that, and which is the main brain behind my array formula. And we will learn the entire process on why I created that helper column. So don't worry about it. I will tell you what the problem I was facing and why I created it in this way. And also this helper column is based on a helper cell O2. And lastly the macro to generate the new worksheet with worksheet name of the process and all the data is a patch special values. You won't believe, but I have done it with a macro recorder and just done one code modification in the code generated with the recorder. So it is as simple as that. I will show you how I created the macro as well. So all of above are very easy to understand and implement. It's just our capacity to visualize and implement the various functions properly, which can help us to develop the automation. So let us start step by step and create the solution from scratch. First step is to create a reference table always. So it helps in the data validation drop downs. So this is all the services he has given and the intervals it might have or the entity type of the clients, and always yes and no will be useful in many places. So if I have to create a data validation in this cell for any of this, there are many ways I can do it. The first thing is to go to data validation, select list and give the reference to a range. For example, this is my range. So I can give it and press OK. So my service type options will be available in data validation. So this is first simple process. Second is to give this range a name like services. So I have given the name to this range, and what I can do is I can remove the data validation first. So it's a plain cell again, and I can go again and select list and write is equal to services. So Excel will understand the range I am referring to and it will show it in the drop down. See, the problem in this is if I add new services, like say for example service text, it will not be updated in here. So a simple solution is to define it with an offset formula. Yes, offset formula. So what offset formula do is it creates a range dynamically. It defines the range dynamically. So for understanding that, you have to understand first the offset formula. Offset formula do two things for us. Either it serve as a reference to a cell dynamically, or it can be used as a range definition dynamically. So let us first understand referring to a cell dynamically. So for example, I am in this particular cell called I13. So let me start writing the formula. So from this cell, that is I13 itself, reference is the base cell. I want to go to service text, which is in A8. So if I count the rows, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 rows I have to go ahead. So I will write -5 for rows. So I am telling Excel to go up 5 rows, and for columns it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 columns I want to go left side, so -8. If I have to go right side, I will write 8, positive 8. And I will close the bracket and see what the answer is. It's service text. So it's an indirect way or dynamic way to define a cell, and you can also define a range with that. So for example, we have used this range definition for data validation with offset. So what it does is offset. Our reference is the first cell in that range. We'll freeze it, and as I am defining the range here. I don't want to move from the reference anymore. I have defined the starting point as it is. So I will write 0 for rows. I don't want to move any further up or down or left or right. So I will write 0 for column as well. And now height and width. This is the key for defining the range. So see, height is the how much horizontally you want to get covered. In our example, it's a dynamic thing. So what I will tweak here is I will write a count A formula. So what count A formula does is it counts the number of cells in a range that are not empty. So whatever it is not empty, I want to count. So for example, in this case particularly, we have 8 values in here. So what count A will do is, if I refer to entire column here, it will have the value is 8, means the height of the range will be the 8. But I want only 7 from the starting point to be covered because service types is the heading. So I will write -1. So indirectly what I have defined is the height should be 7. And for width I will define only 1 because my data is only one column. And this is it. So it will show value currently because it's not referring to a single cell, but it is referring to a range of cells. So Excel cannot handle this in a single cell, but you can define the same formula for data validation. So I copy this and I go to our cell, I remove the data validation currently and again place the data validation as we have defined and see what happens. So it's showing a list of values in the service type range. So if I delete service text again and go to data validation, it will be gone. And if I add one more, service A, it will be there in the data validation. So it's a dynamic thing we have done. You can see that it's coming over. And if you delete it, it will go away. So the first lesson for automation is to create this dynamic range with offset and count A formula. The second place where I have used the offset formula in this solution is to derive the helper column. So this is the helper column where I have used offset formula. But let us first understand why I created the helper column at the first place. See, my array formula is quite complicated, and what it does is it looks into a column, and if it is a yes, then it gives me corresponding client name. So it's already a huge formula. What I have to do if I don't have the helper column is to first look at this service type. Like for example, currently it's advanced text. So I have to make the formula to first define the column in which it should look. So in our case, it's a L column. So my formula will be too much complicated to update as well in the future. So what I have created is I have arrived at the mirror column. The helper column is nothing but a mirror column of advanced text. Currently, you can see that. No, no, yes, 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 no, no, yes, yes, no, no. So you can see exactly a copy of the advanced text column. And if you change it to something else, like monthly GST, now service type is GST here. So in my client master in helper column, we will have the mirror of GST column. Brain behind this offset formula is this particular cell called O1. So first thing is to understand how I arrived at this O1 cell. For that you have to first understand the index and match formula and then the binding of index and match within column formula. So this cell is dependent upon the cell in C6, which is nothing but a VLOOKUP of process in due date master. We will cover this. So first thing is how to arrive at the column number from that cell. So I will write an index and match formula like this. Index. It asks me to define the array for the index, indexing the range. For me it's the headings of applicability range. And now it asks me for the row number. As my range is only one row, so I will select 1. I want to look into the first row itself. And for column number, I will say match. I want to match to something. So what is the lookup value in this match function? For me is this cell in master dashboard. So I will select that cell as a lookup value, and lookup array I would say the same range again because I want to look up in the same range, and I want to exact match. So I will write 0. I will close the bracket and I will close bracket again for index and press enter. So it will say me GST. So if I change it to say for example income tax, it will say me income tax. And now you will wonder, why don't I refer directly to that cell to arrive at income tax here? But it is not income tax which I have derived. It's the reference of cell K2 which I have arrived with. So for example, it is not income tax for Excel. For Excel, it is the cell K2. So hope you understand, it's not the direct linking of this income tax to income tax, but it has arrived at the reference in which cell it resides. So you must be aware about the column formula. A reference, we can define a reference and it will tell us which column number it is. So if you say U1 in reference, it will tell me that it's the 21st column from A. So as we have now the reference of K2, currently K2 is income tax. In this formula, I will just bind the column in front of it. So for reference, I am writing this index match and close this, and 11 is the answer for my current column number in the dashboard. So if I keep on changing this, it will keep on changing. For weight, the 10th column is the data. So you can count it. You will come to know it's the 10th place in the table. Once I arrive at the column number, I can use the offset formula to define the values in that column. Let me write it again for you. Is equal to offset, open bracket. So my reference is always the A column reference, comma, rows. I don't want to move any up or down in rows, so I will write 0 here. But for column, I want to move 10 places on the right hand side. As we already at the first column, I will write -1 because I want to move only 9 steps from the column A. And I will close the bracket and press enter. See, it has come as a value because we have not freezed the reference to this O1 cell. So let us freeze that with F4. And now you can see we are exact mirror of the 10th column, that is weight. Yes, no, yes, no. Yes, no, yes, no. And then yes, yes, yes. Yes, yes, yes. You can understand now why I have created the helper column. If I keep on changing this, and it will keep on changing, mirroring the income tax now. So it's mirroring the income tax, you can see. So this is all about the helper column and data validation at each place, the dynamic data validation I was referring to. I will attach this file as a link to this video. So we have reached halfway in creating the automation tool. We will see the formula and macro recording part in next video. Also, we will see some small tweak in a simple use of VLOOKUP or conditional formatting also. So that is basically what that has to be covered to complete this solution. But don't worry, it's as simple as what we have covered till now. So this was CA double pound, making you understand that if you are doing a task more than once, you are doing it in a wrong way. Thank you.